What's up guys, it's Hitch here, and thank you for tuning in to UMG Weekly. Alright, I'm going to try to go fast because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. First of all, the biggest story of the week was, of course, Titanfall. So the Titanfall beta came out, everybody was playing it, there were beta codes literally everywhere, all over Twitter, to the point of where Titanfall finally just said, you know what? Let's just make it an open beta. So the Xbox One lifted the closed beta, made it open to everyone, and now everyone was just playing it. Overall, it just looks like an amazing game. Everyone pretty much had positive reviews about it and thought it was just one of the most addicting games they've played in a really long time. There were a few negative comments about it here and there, but of course it's still in its beta stage, so it could change overnight. The two people that did reviews on YouTube that stood out the most to me were probably the first being Only Use Me Blade. As many of you know, Blade is a Call of Duty player that goes around and doesn't use his gun, he just knifes people, and so he just decided to only use the melee attacks in Titanfall. And he shows a little bit of his gameplay that he got in the LA event, and he just goes around kicking people, still using melee, and it's really awesome gameplay. During the video, he tells you the ups and downs of the game and what he would like to see changed and what would make it the best game for him. I don't know, just a lot of respect to Blade for really using his actual opinion and not trying to impress anyone or any organization. The second video that really impressed me was Golden Boy, because he talked about Titanfall and if it will correlate with the esports scene. Now, like we covered last week, for some reason a lot of people are thinking that Titanfall was going to be an esports competitive geared game. And as Golden Boy covers in his commentary, he talked to some of the producers of the game, and they made it known that they were going to make a great public game before they try to dabble in any of the esports scene. So overall, great videos by these two YouTubers, great game in general. I'm really excited to see where it goes, and not only the esports scene, but also the public scene overall. The next thing that happened this week was MLG announced that they're doing another invitational called the MLG Pro Circuit. Basically, it's going to be run the same way as the Winter Invitational, except this time there's going to be 10 teams and they're going to play each other 4 times, so there's just going to be a ton of games. And at the end of the season, the top 6 teams are going to meet at PAX East, and they're going to play a single elimination tournament for $15,000. Now, if you don't know anything about the Penny Arcade Expo or PAX, it's basically just a big event where all nerds from different corners of the nerd kingdom get together for an event, have a great time, and then show off what kind of products are coming in the next couple years, and we have a good time. I'm really excited that the Call of Duty esports scene has a little place in PAX, because it shows that it's just being accepted by pretty much everyone. And it's really good to see our community actually be taken seriously. One issue that I did see people talking about with this invitational is, how did MLG choose who they wanted to be in the invitation? I saw a couple people in the community a little upset that their team wasn't invited and they felt it was for no reason. And there wasn't ever any information released on how the teams were chosen, so tough luck to the teams that weren't invited. But overall, it is what it is, and I'm excited to see what happens at PAX East. Another exciting thing that happened over the past week were the Canadian qualifiers were actually held for COD Champs. And it's one of the most exciting qualifier finals that I've seen so far for COD Champs, and it was between a team called Wild and a team called Revenge. Revenge ended up taking it, clutching a couple maps, and they look like a really solid team. And it's interesting because everyone is so focused on the American teams and what they're going to do at Call of Duty Championships. I'm interested to see if anyone is going to sneak through, whether it be this Revenge team or some of the teams in Europe or anywhere basically through the world. But congratulations to Revenge and all its players, and I'm really excited to see what they do for Call of Duty Champs. And coming back over to the American side of things, still dealing with COD Champs, there is a huge issue that has been happening over the past week. So basically there's a big confusion about what system is going to be played at the regional qualifiers. Like I said last week, a bunch of teams have been switching over to the Xbox One thinking that they were going to be better prepared for regionals and COD Champs. But over the past week, some of the directors at MLG that are actually running the tournament said they don't even know which system is going to be played on. And needless to say, some of the pros are very upset. I mean, and you can't really blame them. They're playing for $1 million tournament to potentially win 100 grand a piece, and they don't even know how to practice. Now granted, it is the same game, but it does play different on 2 different systems. But there's nothing more we can really say about that because we're just waiting to see if MLG comes out with some more information on what system is going to be played on, and we'll just go from there. Another pretty cool thing that happened this past week was that the e-sniping community actually released their full website. Now if you don't know what e-sniping is basically the same thing that we do in competitive, except they only use the bolt action rifles. It's crazy to see how these guys play and how accurate they are with the snipes, and it's cool and like refreshing to see a new variation of the game that we follow on a day-to-day basis. So with that being said, our Scuff Gaming players of the week are the TK Sniping team. So I've been following e-sniping for a while now, and I haven't seen these TK guys lose all of Ghost and probably the second half of Black Ops 2. Their accuracy and their knowledge of the game is just so far above everyone else at the moment that it's really, you can really respect them for how well they're playing the game. They're also really passionate about growing the small community that they have. So if you're interested in learning more about e-sniping, you can go to esniping.net, or I'll put the link to their Twitters in the description. So best of luck to those guys, and I'm excited to see where e-sniping goes. And speaking of Scuff Gaming, they actually released a little trailer for the Scuff One. It is basically just the Xbox One controller, all scuffed out. It looks amazing. If you haven't seen the video, please check that out. It's just a company that gives back to our community as much as we give to them, so it's just awesome to see how Scuff is growing as esports is growing, and we're just growing together. And plus, there's some pretty awesome colors on the controller, so if you want to look groovy while you're playing, Scuff is the way to go. But some other random news that happened is over the last weekend we saw some Pro 8s happen on Black Ops 2. And I know it's not that big of a deal, they were just playing to have fun, but it was pretty entertaining to watch. Many pros make it known that they're not a huge fan of this game, and so they go back to have fun, but it does make you wonder if there ever will be room in the future for like a multi-title LAN event or event in general. We see it all the time with other games such as Super Smash Bros. Where they play multiple game titles at the same event, and it makes you wonder if we'll ever be able to play like a Treyarch and an Infinity Ward game at one event, and I think the viewership would be there. I don't know, it's just interesting to think about. And Sharp released a gameplay commentary that was also on Black Ops 2. But he just talked about the COD Championship qualifiers and the Xbox One 360 dilemma. If you want to go check that out, it's pretty entertaining, and it's cool to see a pro's point of view on the whole situation. There was a little bit of Twitter drama about a couple of teams that tried to band together to blacklist Optic so that they would have less of a fan base, but then Optic right after that got a deal to live stream for a movie promotion, so you know, like, who wins in that situation? And also, our good friends over at Ring's House released another reactions video from UMG Philly. This one is between TK and E-Girl Slayers, and as reaction videos always are, it's extremely entertaining, and it's cool to see what it's like to be at an event. So without further ado, I'll leave you with the question of the week, which is, what titles would you like to see in the esports scene in the future? Whether that be Titanfall, or maybe the multi-COD titles we talked about, or some people are even saying that Halo might be coming back. I just want to know what is most entertaining to you, and what would you like to see introduced into the scene or brought back from previous events. Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, if you want to know more about the stories that I talked about, the links will be in the description to those. If you have any critiques or constructive criticism for me, you can put them down in the comments or at me on Twitter, and I'll adjust a few things for next week's episode. But seriously guys, I can't thank you enough. My name is Hitch, this has been this week's episode of UMG Weekly, and we'll see you next time. Alright guys, peace.